Alright, let's do some sweet peppers. Now for each one of these I have a tag for each 6-cell package. These are a type of pepper called Big Daddy. It's a Marconi pepper, which means that it's going to be long and meaty, usually about that long or so. This variety is yellow, and it's the best variety I've ever grown of that style because they are very thick-walled, have a good sugar content. This package is going to help. They don't have hardly any seeds to them for such a large pepper, which is amazing. Like almost all the seeds are in a small cluster at the top of the plant, or at the top of the fruit, which means when you core them, it's interesting. It's a double package. Yeah, so very few seeds all together at the top, so it's easy to process for a restaurant or whatnot. Just get a few of those. Actually, might end up being all those. How many are in a pack of these? Only 40 seeds in one of these packs, so we use almost all of them because I'm planting 36. In the years past when I've done peppers, I think I've planted them too close together, about 1.5 foot spacing. And I get pretty large plants. So I think this year it's going to be maybe like 1.5 foot staggered spacing because I do two rows per bed. And if I stagger it, left side, right side, left side, right side, every 1.5 foot, gives them a little bit more room, a bit more efficient use of the space. But when your pepper plants and any plants really in general get too tightly packed together, then you're going to cut down on what it produces greatly. It's going to be a whole lot of green material, not a lot of peppers. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's see if I can fish. I got like 3 of them in that hole. Since I don't have many seeds, I don't want to waste them. These peppers too are great just for eating like a snack because they have such a good sugar content. There's no way you could do that with like a green pepper or red pepper. Yellow orange peppers are great for salads and snacking. Red peppers are great for roasting and sauces. And there's also a variety of other peppers like chocolate peppers, lavender peppers. I've done smaller variety peppers, but keep thought that the smaller the vegetable is that you're growing. For instance, these are long 7-inch peppers. I could be growing lunchbox peppers, which are only like 2 inches tall and produce a lot of peppers per plant. While these will only produce probably about maybe a dozen max per plant. But the larger that item is, the faster you can pick it, and the easier it's going to be to store, transport, whatnot. That's why a lot of times you always want to choose the largest of what you can, within reason. Sometimes you don't want to choose the largest watermelon or the largest pumpkin varieties or things like that, because then or largest squash varieties, because then you have to find somebody who's going to buy that much squash or that much of anything at a time, which is hard unless they're making pies out of it, or you know, some sort of large project. Let's see, big daddies, big daddies, big daddies. And then this next variety is a Marconi pepper as well. Should be the same size. I've never actually grown these ones. I usually do for a red pepper what's called Corny del Toro. It's a popular strain that's been around for a while. But I think I can get better results. And again, Corny del Toros are a bit smaller in size. So I'd like to get a pepper that's as big as the Big Daddies. I think last year I did also too another large yellow pepper called Good as Gold. And it just wasn't as good as the Big Daddies. Well, you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh. Dropped one seed. Gotta be careful. Gotta make the holes first. You also might decide to do some hot peppers, which I did a lot of jalapenos last year. Didn't sell very well. There's not a whole lot of hot pepper aficionados around here. I can't eat that many hot peppers. Like, I make some stuffed like jalapeno popper things wrapped in bacon in the oven. I really can only eat like 2 jalapenos before it's too much heat for me. Not that it's hot in my mouth. I would eat more, but you know, hot now, hot later. I get if you get 2 per hole. It's not a big deal. Although, of course, if you get short at the end, you're going to have to dig around for the extra one you throw in. This should be enough pepper plants to fill in one of my 80-90 foot rows. It really doesn't seem like a lot of plants that it would take to fill in that large of a row, but you got to take in consideration that each one of these plants is going to end up to be a bush anywhere from, well, these are taller varieties, so they're going to be up to 4 feet tall, even taller possibly. And you can top the plants, make them branch out more to help a little bit, but they're still going to occupy quite a bit of space vertically and horizontally. They always give you a few more seeds than they say too, so that's always good. So I got plenty of that. If you always get duds, come back and plant some more a week later. Because if your seeds don't germinate within a week, then they're probably not going to germinate at all. And close all this up. You might see advertised things of pelleted seed. They sell a lot of lettuce that way. It's supposed to have some fertilizer or some other environmental control with it. I've never bought those. They're more expensive and never had trouble with any of this, germinating it on my own. So put our labels in. And that'll finish up these trays. I'm going to take them to the basement and show you how I got everything set up down there. I'm back down in the basement. You can see have a bit larger setup. Just one of these plastic shelves, only built up to the second. It's a bit wide, so I can fit 4 of those trays on there, no problem of it getting knocked off. And then for light, you can see I have this LED garden light. If I look underneath of it, you can see the rows of individual 3-watt LED bulbs. I'm actually only running it at half power. If you click on another, you can see it kind of redishes the light up. There's one switch for vegetative growth and one switch for blooming growth. Technically, if you need to really grow it fast, you just turn both on. They'll both work, but I only really need the growth part, and also too, I don't need the full strength of this, so only need enough for this small area. And also too, I'll probably get like some of that styrofoam board that has the reflective side on it. The same material that I use to insulate the walk-in cooler, and you can put that around the sides and that'll reflect light back into it, and then you don't have dark areas over here and a bright area in the center. You want to try to keep everything evenly, or even light distribution. Now also too, on one side you see I have a seedling mat that you just plug in, no controls or anything, it just goes. Probably gets to about 80 degrees, a little bit more than that, but I've always used it, works great. It's large enough to do 2 trays at a time. So what I'll do is, as soon as I start seeing the germination going well with one, I'll switch it off for like these carrots, for instance, because the lettuce and the peppers will probably have the most difficulty germinating. And then you can see back here all my cabbage and lettuce plants. Turn this down just a smidge. And definitely, actually no, I'd say all of these can use watering. It's all dried out, changed color on top. You can see the difference between dry and wet, and the inside portion has shrunk away some. That's the easiest way to tell that you're ready to water with the small little cells. If you took one of these out, let's see, I guess this one's coming to pair. You can also pick it up and feel how light it is. Now if you water with your pump sprayer, the chances of overwatering are very slim because you're giving such even water. I'm just going to pump this up. Something also to note, that even though this pump sprayer says Roundup on the side of it, it's actually water. I've never had anything else but water in it. I probably ought to write water on the side of it in big letters just in case it never gets misused. I'm gonna pump it up a little bit, and don't even have to squeeze the trigger the entire way. Pretty much just count 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Tiny little stream of water coming out. It's not going to be enough that's going to soak through the cell and drip into the tray below. And in actuality, when you take these plants out, most of the time the very bottom of the soil is still dry, which is what you want. Anytime you have water sitting in the bottom of a container, for most plants it's going to cause a problem. Something else to think in consideration is the warmer the environment and drier the environment you're starting your seedlings up in. You know, I'm doing this in the basement where it's only probably about 65 degrees, if that. So they're not going to dry out very fast. Don't be expecting to water them every day or every other day. or any kind of schedule like that, unless you're doing this like, you know, on a table beside your patio window. Also too, to note, you can do this in your greenhouse right now if you put a space heater in your greenhouse. Now obviously you're not going to be getting as much or as long of a duration of light, but it'll be enough for it to keep going. But you really have to make sure that the temperature stays up in the greenhouse, because if it gets too cold, then things like peppers will not like it. So that's why I choose to do everything indoors until it's warm and large enough to move it to the greenhouse, and then from the greenhouse to the field. You can see a few of these I've cut a little bit lanky, knocked over, but they'll spring back up. Just let the water dry off of them. Don't try to ride them up right away, because you can end up breaking them. So you see, I only put just a tiny amount of water in there, and I bet, let's see what I do over here. Yeah, see, if I tilt that tray, there's just one little spot of water that dripped through. That's what I want. And now for each of these that I just planted, I'm not going to put as much water in. Just maybe like a second of a squirt, if that. Don't want it to jet out, otherwise it's going to knock everything around. Maybe float your seed up above the top. So there's the tiniest amount of water right in the center of the cell. And again, try to work out some sort of methodology to what you're doing so that you're not skipping any cells or watering any cells twice over. I think actually I did skip one in the last segment of planting seeds. I had to go back and replant it. It's like, oh, I wonder why I had so many extra pepper seeds. But they got planted, if you caught me. Just enough water to get the top of it wet, soak through the center. Now I'm just barely pressing down on the pump sprayer trigger. Some things you'll be able to start right in the greenhouse, like pumpkins and squash and things like that. And they'll grow so fast that you can actually start those out in the half-pint containers. It's not actually a bad idea to start things off like that in the greenhouse in half-pint containers, because it'll be so much warmer in there. That's going to dry the soil out. Just never put your lettuce or any other cold crops like cabbage and whatnot in a greenhouse. All it takes is one day where it gets up above the 60s outside when it's sunny, and then inside your greenhouse is in the 90s, and your lettuce is cooked. They want it cool. So there you go. These will be sprouting probably up out of the soil in about 4 or 5 days. I'll put up another video showing that, and showing getting some outdoor work started in preparations for planting things in raised beds. I'm gonna make some new raised beds too. I gotta clean out my garden of leaves and other things too. So check in next time, and we'll keep on growing all this stuff. Bye bye.